Lovely. Welcome to the broadcast, everybody. I promised you that I would show you the milk tea that I've been enjoying lately, and no, this is not a paid partnership or a sponsorship. I have never invited a sponsorship, a single sponsorship. I haven't even invited sponsorships on this channel. So before anyone accuses me of product placement, no, I'm simply sharing what I've been sipping lately because my viewers enjoy hearing what I've been up to. And I mentioned this tea. It is from Hey Tea, which is a brand I discovered. The shop opened up in about May here in Camden Town, which is about 5 minutes stroll from Primrose Hill. But I hadn't been in there. And now I have, and I have this as an occasional treat, perhaps once a week, because it's too much for daily, but it's a lovely little treat once in a while. A little bit too expensive, I think, a little bit overpriced, but it is based on an ancient beverage, reimagined with a modern twist. And I know that there are lots of different bubble teas out there and boba teas, but the brand Hey Tea is Chinese, and there are cold versions. I've tried cold versions before, but this is warm or hot, and they do varying levels of the sugar because this is a supreme brown sugar bobo milk, so it has that gorgeous brown sugary effect, but I only have 30%. You can have 30, 50 or 100 or whatever. I think I only get 30% sugar. That's quite sweet enough, my dear. They also have a version that has cheese floating on the top. It's a cold version, cheese tea, and they're a very big brand. Originally they were called Royalty, but there was trademarking problems with that. But it's so autumnal. This is the supreme brown sugar bobo milk, and it's so fun to cosset. You know that cosseting feeling. And for those of you that don't know, the bubbles or the boba or whatever they are these little tapioca balls, rubbery sort of balls. And they all shoot up the straw. And they're chewy, so you feel like you're having a little bit of a meal as well. But I love them. Tapioca pearls. Excuse me chomping away, my dears. And they've done collaborations as well in the past, which look really fun. One with Fendi I saw, and one with Barbie, which actually reminds me of my ciggy packet, my dear. I refuse to have those ugly things with lungs and eyeballs on them, so I've got my Barbie ciggy packet, and I've got a lighter to match it, actually. And one thing I've got to remark on is the clientele. Of course, there's all different stripes in there, but when you see Asian people together, the style that they are beating the English hands down with their style. They look so chic, a little bit too uniform for my taste, but they will dress in blacks and charcoals and vanillas, earthy creamy tones, usually with flawless skin, and look so chic and stylish and sharp. They really do. It's quite inspiring. And apparently it's a fairly high-end upscale version of bubble tea, this Hey Tea brand, and you can certainly taste the quality of the tea. And it makes a nice little change to my Blanche Devereaux. You know how I take my coffee. I invented the Blanche Devereaux, which is black coffee, shop bought, with just a whisker of double cream in it. Well, I've changed the rules on that because I told you it had to be shop bought, but I've since purchased an espresso. Yes, I have an espresso pop, which makes my black coffee perfectly, and I add the double cream to that, just a whisker of double cream. So Blanche Devereaux can now officially be made using other devices. It does not have to be shop bought, and many of you have told me that you've been having a delicious time with your Blanche Devereaux. I also picked up a cool version in a can, Gummy Boba Latte Brown Sugar, which I'm quite sure won't be quite so edifying, and the ingredients not quite so good, so I'll just be having a little sip of that out of curiosity. Melon milk. These flavours always pique my curiosity, so I wanted to try that, and I quite like the taste of melon. I don't know how it'll go down in a milk, but I'll be curious to see. Melon milk, and sparkling water, lychee fizzy, I like lychee. fizzy lychee water, where's the other one? And little strawberry pudding. Smile, smile. Strawberry pudding. Actually, the label said it was strawberry pudding, but now I'm reading it, it says ice cream pudding, white peach flavour. Oh, maybe there's a few different flavours. Yogurt flavour and strawberry flavour. Oh, there are 3 flavours here. Ice peach, vanilla and strawberry. Now, on to business. Prince William has appeared in a new documentary. Prince William, We Can End Homelessness, so he says. And he describes how the late Diana took her sons to a homeless shelter. And we were furnished with previously unseen photographs of Diana and William together. And the other son. Now, incidentally, this has received extremely positive reactions from the press, highlighting William's obvious commitment to the cause, but the press have been making an unholy hullabaloo about Prince William. It's ridiculous. And I'm here to put them a little bit straight, because they say he's been offering an olive branch to Harold and taking a conciliatory step in his feud with Harry by uttering his name for the first time in public since 2018, when they were at the Royal Foundation Forum. Well, nonsense on stilts. Nonsense on stilts. I'm here to put them quite straight about this, because in actual fact it is Prince Harry who has been fudging around behind the scenes. He's been prodding and poking at the Wales's court and their office, and hail fellow, well met, and oh so chocolate. Oh, come on, bro, can you take a bit of a laugh? You know I love you really, bro, I love you really. So-called Big Willie. My Dodger's the real big un round here though, ain't it? Ask Megsy, babe. Yeah. All of that nonsense. And he's been offering more than an olive branch, I can tell you. He's been offering every branch from every olive grove in Montecito and getting absolutely nowhere. He's on the outs, as I've been telling you, for years. And all of this is over one simple sentence uttered by Prince William, who said, "My mother took me to the passage." She took me to the passage. She took Harry and I both there. I'd never been to anything like that before, and I was a bit anxious as to what to expect. That's it. That's it. And now we end up with all this sophistry about him offering an olive branch. I ask you. He offers nothing other than his future majesty for the Harkles to bow down and worship at. William's fury is incandescent. And chiefly his incandescence is over the way that Catherine was disparaged by him and the wife and the ghost writer, but all at his behest. William was describing an event, and he is not petty enough to erase his brother's involvement in that event. Do you understand? He's not petty, he has the maturity. And no, the name hasn't been uttered from that royal tongue for many a year, because why would he put his brother's name in his mouth? That dirty name. Why would he do that? But he is mature enough to understand that any gentleman would not erase an event such as that from history, and Harry happened to be a part of it. And so he had to say his name, as any gentleman would do. He used the relevant name. It is the modus operandi of a gentleman, not of a scoundrel or a wastrel or a nincompoop. William does not play Harry's games. Do you understand? The Waleses dine on royal jelly and Buckleby jam, not on the conserves of American Riviera orchard. Speaking of which, according to Dickie Eden, who writes for Mail Online, there was a reason that American Riviera orchard had a rush release when they were totally unprepared. We've all been wondering about that. Of course, there is the fact that they were piggybacking on the mystery, or so-called mystery, surrounding Catherine's disappearance. Piggybacking on that. But he says, I contacted Meghan's office in March to inform them that I planned to run an item about her plans to launch a lifestyle company called American Riviera Orchard. Meghan was apparently so desperate for the news not to appear first in the Daily Mail that she immediately launched the Instagram page for her company, complete with a glitzy video. Call that glitzy. 8 months later, the company has still not started selling any goods, and interest seems to be waning. A textbook example of how not to launch a business. And he seems to be in agreement with Tina Brown there, doesn't he? Because it is my understanding that there has been consternation all over Montecito about that rush release of the brand, where they were so petrified, according to Dickie Eden, about him getting the news out first. There is consternation that now they are presented with a complete and utter anticlimax. I've even started hearing whispers, and I wasn't going to mention this yet because I don't know if there's much substance to it, but I've even started hearing whispers that they're thinking about rebranding it entirely with the name, but that might come to nothing. They are all fanfare and no trumpet. Actually, fanfare would be another great name for Meghan's wares from the kitchen, wouldn't it? Fair for my fans. Fanfare! But all fanfare and no trumpet. That's trumpet. So I found that quite intriguing from Dickie Eden. As I say, bear in mind they were pigging on Catherine's mystery. And there is also the quiz I've got to ask. Why would Richard Eden inform her office of his plans to reveal the brand's name when he could have splashed the scoop without going to them? Was it some sort of legal wrangle or legal quiz? Why did he go to them when he could have furnished us with a scoop and sold more papers? Because Dickie Eden is a canny character. He knows what he's doing. So I do stroke my chin and think there might be some more to the story there of exactly how this all emerged. But that's the quiz. As it stands, the Duchess of Sussex is not bringing home the bacon, is she? Not bringing home the bacon at all. Hubby is the breadwinner. Via his inheritance and his name, but also those Judas coins of betrayal. He's the breadwinner, which isn't really aligning with her narrative. Their story together of her as Glow Steinem's protégé, feminista extraordinaire, a suffragette on stilts. Keep kneading the dough, Meghan. That's what she's doing in that kitchen, isn't it, my dear? That Riviera Orchards kitchen. Kneading dough. Oh, how I need that dough. I need that dough, Harry. I need it. I'll keep baking bread in the kitchen, but you can win the bread, Harry. You can win the bread, but I'm a proud, confident woman, and I should be joining you, or seem to be bringing in the bacon. But I'll just knead the bread. I need the bread. I need the bread more. More, Harry. Write more books. Write more books. Well, remember, she's still got her own book to come. She's still got her own book to come. In royal matters, Ballyhigh may call you. Samoa has been hailed as a resounding success, as has the whole tour of Australia and Samoa, and Their Majesties had a splendid time. The people of Samoa have been generous and warm. In fact, the people of Samoa are possessed of a legendary natural charm and grace and natural royalty, which was witnessed so many times during this tour. They really are a special people. A palace official said that Their Majesties genuinely loved the tour. They arrived ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting and were welcomed in ceremony, a special ceremony reserved only for monarchs, which was performed by the Samoan head of state and his village. His Majesty met with students and staff at the National University to mark the launch of a new fellowships programme in his name to help small island developing states. They experienced village culture, and the king was bestowed with a High Chief title in the church hall. And on a mangrove restoration walk, the king learnt about the benefits of coastal biomes. And bless Queen Camilla, she does look rather lost at times, doesn't she? A little bit cringe, even if she is doing her absolute best at the age of 77. 1 minute she's mucking out the horses at Ray Mill or wherever, and the next minute she's on the other side of the world progressing as Queen of the Realms. But you know what, my dears, I would rather have a queen who is occasionally a little bit awkward with moments that are slightly cringy, like that one was, one tiny moment within a much wider moment. I would much rather have that. In fact, I think that is the charm of much of royalty than a posturing, preening professional on the red carpet, working it, you know, imagining she's Beyonce. The Queen was welcomed at a pastor school, which is one of many where tradition remains deeply embedded in Samoans' Christian upbringing and culture. She attended an event bringing together Commonwealth figures leading change on domestic abuse, and the King learnt about reforestation efforts at the national park. You've got to love the Queen here. I am loving that glint behind the fan. Doesn't she look absolutely beguiling there in that moment? And there was a smooch for the King. Kissy, kissy, kingy. And all of this, of course, preceded the official meeting of the government heads and the reception that followed. The wardrobe throughout this tour has been understated. There were no great moments of dazzling glamour and brilliance, but it was absolutely in keeping with the atmosphere and the season, and I think it went down really well. The menu looked rather delicious. There was red snapper and breadfruit fondants. That's what got my attention, my fruits. Breadfruit fondants and coconut jam cheesecake. Yummy, yummy. The King is planning a full programme of overseas tours next year. So isn't that exciting, my dear? That'll keep us on our toes. As our visits to Australia and Samoa come to a close, my wife and I would like to thank both nations for the warmest of welcomes and for the countless fond memories we will carry in our hearts for many years to come. Even when we are far apart in distance, the many close connections that unite us across the globe and through our Commonwealth family have been renewed and will remain as profound as they are enduring. Charles R. and Camilla R. And for any newbies that don't know, that stands for Charles Rex, which is Latin for King, and Camilla Regina, which is Latin for Queen. Yes, she is Queen, whether regnant, consort, dowager or drag. A queen is a queen, my dear. The Yorkies have been out and about having fun. As always, the Brooksbanks were at Oswald's in Mayfair. Princess Eugenie was robed in Massimo Dutti and was toting a black Chanel bag, wearing emerald earrings. And then Princess Beatrice wore puff sleeves by Rebecca Valance. It was actually at the launch of Rebecca's new collection in collaboration with Nicky Hilton of the Hilton clan. She toted the Pilgrim buckle clutch in black satin and wore Roger Vivier pumpies. Well, I'm off to enjoy my Asian confections, and I look forward to seeing you next time, my fondant fancies. Take care and to the pip.